Since the fall of man, a war has raged between good and evil. Over the centuries, this war has distorted the truth. Now the truth is perceived as lies, and lies acknowledged as truth. To this day, the battle continues as we investigate and debate the truth behind the history and mystery of the universe. We are Paratruth Radio.
Eric and Justin have found their way into the world of the paranormal after a number of incidents involving the spiritual world. Since then, they have produced several radio shows, short films, and video feeds. But nothing has helped develop them into the team that they have become, quite like the hair-raising experiences that they witnessed during their time as paranormal investigators. These are the stories of the NSPS.
Now Paratruth presents Ghosts Among Us Part 4, The Dahmer House.
What's up, Parafans? My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
And you are listening to a brand new episode of Paratruth Radio on the one and only Paratruth Radio Network. We're broadcasting live. Well, kind of live. From Bismarck, North Dakota and Lynchburg, Virginia. This is a nice little music. I mean, after all the other intros that you've all already heard, it's nice to have another intro.
You have just entered the Paratruth Zone.
Oh, man. Woo, what a day. What a week. What a month. Yeah. What a year. What a life. Oh,
it's always a long week when we get to this point. I don't know if you probably didn't see this comment because you're not a part of this group, but the one guy in one of the groups that I post the show in, he said, Eric and Justin seem kind of loopy. No offense. I wanted to say, no offense taken. We are usually kind of loopy at this point.
Not loopy at all.
But yeah, I was like, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take offense to that. We get kind of weird and crazy on the show. So
my question is it loopy as in loopy like we're talking now, or loopy as in we're repeating ourselves over and over and over again?
I think it was we are laughing a lot at ourselves and that sort of thing.
We don't laugh. We never laugh. We're serious as can be.
Because that's
we speak
the way
only
we
truth. Roll. We keep our mouths straight across our face, not curled up, not curled down.
If it was curled down, there'd be a problem.
Well, no, they're just my depression smiling. It's just reversed.
Loopy. So you've been traveling over, well, once the show airs, you had traveled last weekend and got home safely and safe and sound, no problems other than a little sleepiness?
Yep, just a little sleepiness both ways. Although the first time I didn't pull over. The second time I did.
What time did you get started driving?
Like 1 o'clock p.m.
Oh, I was going to say your body's used to the early morning, so maybe.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. Because I went to bed kind of late. And I went to bed like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then I got up around 8 to go to a Memorial Day parade. Yeah. So I'm thinking I did not want to get up. I was so tired. And that could be going to bed so late. I mean, it wasn't that early, but still, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens, it happens, it happens.
Well, wedding is coming up fast. Shelly's been working her butt off to get a bunch of decorations and a bunch of stuff done, so I'm very proud of her for sticking it out and keeping going with it.
Good job, Shelley! Which is an actual name, and I'm not a nickname for a seashell.
Not a nickname for seashell. So, well, folks, we do have a show for you tonight. It's the finale of the series we've been doing called The Ghosts Among Us. This week, I will actually let Eric introduce the location that we are going to be discussing.
We will be discussing an investigation that we did at the house or the home, whichever you prefer is more correct, of Jeffrey Dahmer. He spent his... What did that just say?
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to talk, and you always cut me off with those things.
Well, once we do the live show, you can control the little box.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's going to be fun. Yes, so we're doing a show on our investigation at the home of Jeffrey Dahmer, the place in which he grew up. Numerous things that happened there, all of which are very creepy. Not only because he was a serial killer, but also because he was once a kid. And kids are creepy. In general.
Him as a kid was creepy, absolutely.
Which we have plenty of stories for that as well.
Yeah.
So this, we've been wanting to, we've talked about Jeffrey Dahmer's investigation numerous times over the past couple of years. But we never showed any of the evidence that we had, EVP-wise, which is all we have, right? We don't have any photos.
We didn't have
or video.
Photos.
But we decided, or I guess we were talking about when we would air this particular episode, and we thought about airing it last week with the other two that we did at the Canal Road and the Frazee House. But then we decided that we'll do one more episode and just let the entire hour be based on this investigation at Jeffrey Dahmer's house, because it is probably one of the places that we had some of the most activity, both with personal experiences and then just evidence that we had caught via EVP, and by far some of the clearest evidence that we have caught as well, which is really just something. But we ended up going there with a relatively large group. We took turns going in and out of the home. Usually Justin, me, and one of our guys that were with us. There's just three of us, I believe.
No, there was
four.
Yeah,
there were four of us. And we would get the entire home to ourselves, for however long. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes a half hour, sometimes an hour. And it was cool because it was just our team that was allowed to go in there. And then we'd come out, and then the next group would go in, which was like a much larger team. So they'd go in groups of 3, 4, 5, whatever.
We would sometimes pair up with the other group too.
Occasionally, yeah. But what's interesting about this home, though, is that a lot of the investigation didn't revolve around, but it didn't take place in just the home itself.
Right.
There's a much larger area in which we had to cover because of things that had happened on the outside of the home around the property, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of acres at least, all wooded, by the way, with
around
small
probably like 2 or 3
paths.
acres.
Yeah, 2-3 acres. I'll have to say that when we got there is one of – I didn't expect, much from it because it just looked like a normal home. There's nothing to it. But once you started hearing the stories that had actually happened there during Dahmer's childhood, and then, of course, the first killing of Stephen Hicks, well, then things began to change quickly, both in our own personal opinions, but also in the atmosphere, I believe.
Yeah.
So, what are some things that you remember? I mean, this was a huge, huge investigation for us.
I remember, like the being touched. I was, again, touched at Dahmer's house, which you guys have heard a couple of times me talk about a little bit. And we were doing a ghost box session there in the original garage, but was turned into living room where Stephen Hicks was killed. And I remember it was just kind of eerie feeling in general, even before we started hearing some of the stories, just because A, you knew who lived there, and B, it was just very thick atmosphere, very, very eerie, because we started during the day, because the owner was walking us around the property, just telling us about the different things that Jeffrey Dahmer had done as a child, right. That the stuff that had happened where Stephen Hicks's, was it just his bones, or did Dahmer strip the meat off of his bones?
Yeah. So the story is, and if I'm not mistaken, this was backed up by police evidence. Okay. I know, like, a detective had been out there a few times trying to. Obviously, I already knew what happened, but they're actually reopening the case at this point that we went out to do the investigation, or so we were told. But apparently, Jeffrey Dahmer had brought Stephen Hicks. He had met him at the bar, brought him home, and Stephen Hicks wanted to leave after a short time.
Yeah.
And Dahmer didn't like that. So he actually bashed him over the head with a dumbbell, I believe.
Yeah.
And then in the garage. And then after he did that, he took him out back, dragged him out back, cut him up into pieces, and separated the flesh from the bone, put all of the pieces, the flesh, the bone, etc., into separate garbage bags, and then buried them throughout the yard. And the actual cutting and separating of the flesh and everything happened in a small cubby underneath the home. So there was a specific place in which it happened. So we actually knew, that was the creepy part, knowing exactly, standing in a spot, knowing what had happened there so many years earlier.
Yeah.
And just thinking of the entire situation and being there, it was creepy stuff, man. Just absolutely frightening.
In the story went, I believe, where they had found these bags, or where supposedly they had been buried. There were supposed to be pillars of fog or something, wasn't there? Or something like similar to that.
Yeah.
And trying to think what else there was there, other than the actual evidence, what he was walking us through during the daytime. One of the things that was horrible was that he was talking to us about Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood, and right. That he was doing serial killer-like tendencies even then, which apparently actually the profile is they start harming animals at a very young age, and it slowly progresses, and that's eventually how they start killing people, and it starts to become a serial.
Right.
But he had apparently nailed a cat to a tree, all four paws, and the guy had walked us up to the tree and showed us 4 nails where it had grown high enough at the time that if he would have been a child and then that much years had passed, would coincide with what the owner was telling us.
Yeah.
And what else was there? There's a picture that Eric and I will probably talk about here shortly that we had took of a mirror in the living room, which was the garage, that the guy that we had let go had taken upon himself to look at and manipulate, and eventually he got it to the point where it was like shimmering and bluish, and he claimed that the mirror had a portal in it. And I thought to myself, why do you need an object to cause a portal?
Yeah.
So,
right.
Just among the many things that we've been talking about as far as this guy is concerned anyways.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things is when we were at one point we were out back in the backyard doing an EVP session, And this is referring to the nails in the tree because we had seen those 4 nails that were shown to us. But, when you're in the backyard in the pitch black, it's just dark out with only your little flashlights and on occasion with no flashlights, depending on if you want to take photos and whatnot.
Yeah.
These trees are pretty close, and the trail that we were walking was really close to these trees. And I remember turning the corner around one bend in the trail and just missing a nail that was sticking out of the tree at eye height. And I just missed it from hitting my eye. It was like, you remember that? And I noticed it. I was like, holy crap, what was that?
Yeah.
And, we checked it out, and he's like, yeah, it all makes sense. Like, if the nail was put in when Dahmer was a kid, then over the years, I know this is repeating what Justin already said, but over the years, the tree would have grown high enough in which the nail would be so and so much, so far of a distance off the ground than what it previously was. So going back and thinking of the time, it would all pair up and make sense. Now, is it possible that these people just decided to go out and pop a couple nails into the trees just for whatever reason? Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think so. Not this time.
Yeah. Well, I believe it was the owner that had wanted to actually write a book about Jeffrey Dahmer's family and this house, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So he was trying to help. I mean, he was trying to get some stuff to put into the book, and something we'll kind of go into a little later after we get into some ghost box sections and that sort of thing, was that he wanted to put this stuff in the book, and I had to kind of substantiate that the clip that was part of the ghost box section, which we'll talk about, wasn't there. I wasn't hearing it where somebody from the other group that was listening to the ghost box did. And
yeah,
but during the daytime stuff, I mean, there was really, I don't think we really caught any EVPs until in the evening.
Right.
Because all of yours are from the evening, like when you, me, and Kyle are outside, and then the one where you were by yourself.
Right. Yeah, they're all... Everything leading up to the evening was pretty boring. It was just kind of like relaxing. I know the majority of waiting for full nightfall, or even the haunting hour, midnight, you, me, and Kyle were just hanging out by headquarters, and we were just watching all the footage on the IR cameras and everything like that. But yeah, once we got to midnight, 2, 3, things really started to shake up a bit as everyone started, witnessing, experiencing, catching evidence, et cetera, et cetera.
So going into, we'll start getting into the evening stuff. There was, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 ghost box sessions. The last one is the one where I got touched, and this other information came up, which I'll share with you guys now. But one of the other group was listening to the ghost box. Nobody else could hear it. And I had done a split wire so that we could record what was coming out of the ghost box as well. And what I had said was, if you're here with us now, prove it. Or, no, I asked if you're here with us now. And then the lady said, yes, next to you. And I said, prove it. And I got this, very light brush along my neck. And I got, I was like, okay, no more of this. I walked out for a little bit, came back in. And then towards the end of this ghost box session, she started hearing something about a book. And do you remember what that book was? Do you remember what they were trying to figure out? Because they were saying something about his lineage, or I want to say something like that. Do you remember it all?
I can't remember it all. I think it might be on one of the EVPs that I have, but I can't remember offhand.
But that was the one ghost box session. The other ghost box session, I was sitting with two of the other group, and I was just getting random things like can't leave, and I could have sworn I heard it say Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's about all I kind of remember from that ghost box session. What are some of the experiences that you remember? I know you had one personal other than the EVP.
Right. Well, other than the EVP, one that was a personal experience that happened right around the same time that I got the EVP. I was sitting in the bedroom on the floor, and I was like kind of in the back area between the bathroom and the bedroom, and I decided to sit on the floor. I remember looking out towards the entranceway of the bedroom, and to the left was the bathroom when you go out that door. Directly ahead of me was another bedroom, and then to the right was the hallway that goes to the living room where you guys were. And there was this gold ball of light that swooped down towards the floor and then came up and back into the bath and went into the bathroom. It was a pretty good size. I'd say it's probably like a softball-sized light or orb. And I saw it with the naked eye, so I didn't have it on camera and I didn't capture anything that way. But I remember when I saw it, I jumped up to go check to see, like, in the bathroom what it was, or if anything, I don't know, maybe a flashlight came in from the window, or maybe someone, one of you guys are flashing down the hall. So I went to check, didn't find anything. And, of course, I was high up. The location, the first floor is actually above ground, technically, because the hill, like, you go into the house and you start off on ground, but as you go further, the ground outside dips down and the house remains level.
Right.
So eventually the first floor is maybe 5 or 6 feet off the ground. So based on where people would have been standing outside, where I saw the ball of light, a flashlight from outside couldn't have, had this light happen. Plus it was an odd color. It's literally like a gold color as opposed to the typical amber or white that you get from typically white for a lot of what we were doing out there with the LED lights. A lot of our team and the other team had white LEDs. But so that was one personal experience. Another one was when I was down in the cubby. I went down in the cubby by myself where Hicks was separated. We'll just leave it at that. And I was sitting in there, and this was more of a feeling because I was down there by myself, and I'm trying my best to lock my mind out of, from spreading, like thinking of other things, anything that could creep me out. Like, don't worry that you're in the backyard amongst nothing but trees and you don't know what's out there, regardless of the noises that are rustling in the leaves. And, everybody's way up front probably couldn't hear me or anything if something happened back here. But
and fighting your OCD with the dust and the grime that was in that cubby hole as well.
But I remember sitting in there, and I had the EVP running at the time, and or I should just say the digital voice recorder.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there asking questions, and all of a sudden, just this thick air, kind of came over me, and I just had this really uneasy feeling. It was a little tough to breathe. I started getting a little anxious, and I just started getting scared. Fear started to kick in. And, of course, that's something you can't really track. It's something you can't prove or disprove unless, of course, there's electromagnetic field in the area somewhere. Maybe there's some EFG that's being pumped off from an electrical unit around. But we didn't see anything. Everything down there was pretty much clean and clear, other than the mound of dirt that was under that we're sitting on in concrete. So that was kind of debunked. There's nothing there. So whatever that feeling was and where it came from so suddenly is something that it kind of stuck with me for a while. It's just one of those, really creepy feelings, and you just can't shake that.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I do remember from the other group, there was a guy that was, I think he was half Native American. I can't remember if he was full Native American, but he had seen a floating torso, no arms, head, or legs. Didn't capture it on picture or anything like that. He had just saw it. And that kind of made the night even more creepy, because then you think, well, that's got to be Stephen Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
So, or something manifesting as the torso of Stephen Hicks. And I'm trying to remember if I had any other personal experiences other than the heaviness and being touched. I don't think so. But there was just the heaviness in the house, and even when we were out in the yard where Hicks's body had been spread. So, very interesting experiences. Can't really substantiate what was going on, but
Right.
So, since these EVPs are yours, which one did you want to start out with? The one outside or the one inside with the orb?
Let's go with the one outside.
Okay. So it was Eric, myself, and our crew member, if you will, Kyle, was with us outside, and you'll hear us talking, and then it sounds like a whisper that goes like underneath our voices. But I'll let you guys listen to it. Tell us what you think in the comments once you decide what it is. But here we go.
Damn bugs are attracted to the freaking light.
I know.
Yeah, I keep getting them in my face because of the light on this.
So I don't know if I can really make it out what it's saying. Do you have any ideas as what it sounds like?
You know, before I sent it to you, I remember when I sent that to you, I told you I can't tell what it's saying, but it's something whispering or somebody whispering, and it didn't sound like any of us. And if it was, I mean, it'd be kind of weird, you know, it's a weird whisper. But playing it back just now, and I don't know if you heard it, but on my end, it kind of skipped a little bit during the whisper, like toward the end of it, or had a little glitch. But it almost sounded to me like it said, "I can't breathe."
Okay.
That's what I heard this time.
You didn't hear anything distinctive last time?
No.
Just a whisper?
Yeah, last time all I heard was like, you know, and that's it. But this time I feel like I distinctly heard "I can't breathe," but, you know, we'll see. I'll try to listen again.
All right. We'll play it a couple more times in synchronous order here, and we can see what you guys think as well in the comments. But here we go.
Damn bugs are attracted to the freaking light.
I know.
Yeah, I keep getting them in my face because of the light on this. Attracted to the freaking light.
I know.
Yeah, I keep getting them in my face because of the light on this.
All right. Well, it kind of sounds, something about breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't breathe, or I don't know. It kind of sounds like one of us whispering bright light too. So I can't.
Which again would still be a weird thing for one of us to say in a whisper, but then none of us responded. That's the thing that gets me, because there is a whisper, but then no one responds to the whisper.
Right. Actually,
typically,
I can play the rest of the little short bit afterwards, so you guys can hear too that nobody responds to it. But I'll play that really fast, and then we can continue.
Freaking light.
I know.
Yeah, I keep getting them in my face because of the light on this.
So all you hear is the nature sounds. Nobody responds to, at least talking wise, nobody responds to this, whatever it's saying.
Yeah.
So, this was during, like we were saying, a session where we were outside. I think it was, I don't know if the guy that we let go was with us with Yumi and Kyle, was he standing with us at that point, or was it just us three?
No, Kyle was there.
No. I meant the other guy. We let
go. No. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was just us three.
Okay.
Like, I honestly don't even remember the other guy being there at all. So I don't.
Well, I want to say he was there because he had manipulated. Yeah, because he was the one that went into the closet when the whole book thing was going on.
Okay.
And we were like, no, let it go. You cannot be messing into this guy's.
Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Hey, that's your fault. You said it.
Wow. So he was trying to go into the closet to find this supposed book that was on the ghost box session. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he was there because I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm remembering it just Yumi and Kyle, but I wanted to make sure that I was correct on that. So yeah, as you guys can see, I mean, to me, it's not necessarily a Class A EVP because it's kind of hard to determine what it's saying.
Right.
But it is a distinct enough sound that you can obviously tell something is saying something. And again, guys, if you think we're full of crap, or if you can determine, hey, this is actually one of you guys whispering because you can distinguish the tone of voice or the person's voice in that whisper, let us know in the comments through email, paratruthradio@gmail.com. And we would love to hear your guys' comments as to what these EVPs are saying, because most of the time me and Eric have separate experiences as to what these things are saying. So
yeah.
All right, so we will go to our first break, folks. You are listening to Paratruth Radio right here on the Paratruth Radio Network. We will be right back after Eric's random fact of the day.
Damn bugs are attracted to the freaking light.
I know.
I keep getting them in my face because of the light on this.
Now, Eric's random fact of the day.
If you had ever thought that your muscles are made up of a solid piece of tissue, well, you're wrong. According to Visual.ly, muscles are made up of layers of tissue, each one thinner than a human hair, and each of which can support up to 1,000 times its weight. With that said, the human body has around 650 muscles. But what's even more interesting is that if each muscle were able to be pulled in one direction, you would be able to lift 21 tons.
This was Eric's random fact of the day.
All right, folks, welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Justin.
And I'm Eric.
And Eric and I have been discussing the Jeffrey Dahmer investigation that we had when we were a part of Night Stalkers Paranormal Society. We had another group there with us that actually had wanted us to be there because the place was so big that they needed more people to cover it. So they had asked us to come along. And we were talking about some of our personal experiences. You guys heard the first EVP that Eric had caught on his digital recorder, and we were outside with our buddy Kyle that was a part of our group. So going into that, and after hearing it a couple more times, are you still hearing I Can't Breathe?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
During that time that we were out in just with that particular EVP session, do you remember anything specific about any experiences or anything outside?
No, I mean I remember Kyle, and I've heard it in one of the EVPs, which is what kind of helps spark the memory. But I remember him saying that he felt like cold air at one point, which I know folks that when they were outside, and obviously that's a little hard to debunk.
Right.
But it was also the middle of July when we did this investigation. It was pretty warm out there. We didn't need jackets. And he said that it wasn't really a breeze. It was just kind of like, it was like a steady cold. It was just there.
Yeah.
And in the EVP, you could hear all of us checking to see, like, oh, yeah, I feel that, or no, So that was one thing in the backyard that, we had come across. The other thing was, I think a lot of it was really just all in our heads, because a lot of it was like, what if some dude comes running out of those woods right now? Like,
yeah.
What if he's got a knife or a chainsaw? What if he's naked? What if, it's just like, creepy stuff. But, yeah, it's hard to experience things outdoors.
Yeah.
But our minds were running wild, in the pitch black in the woods.
And we had Jeffrey Dahmer on the mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember if there was any other pictures, like questionable pictures, caught. Do you remember if there was any other ones that we caught other than the supposed portal in the mirror?
Right. No, I mean, I remember a couple of pictures that were taken. So in the living room, which is where the portal supposedly was in the mirror, there was kind of a porch, like a back porch, but it was all greenery.
Right.
There were a lot of bushes and flowers and stuff in there. And I remember Kyle taking photos in that direction. And he said, if I'm not mistaken, he saw like a mist or some kind of light in the flower bed area when he had taken the pictures. And I think we ended up debunking it as a flash off the back window.
Okay.
Because it looked interesting, but I think we debunked it as a flash off the back window. So that was the only picture that I remember, other picture, that at first I was like, oh, dude, what do you got? But, not so much. And also, real quick, just this is a little trail. But the guy we let go, the guy we let go, I don't think it was him that was there. Okay. Actually, I'm almost 100% certain. I think it was the other kid, Kyle's friend.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because he was there before the other guy, and I think it was the four of us. I'm almost confident of that. So, just a small listen to the EVP, I can tell you. But sorry for the randomness, folks.
One thing that I do remember is in that area. I don't know what was going on. It was probably electrical things messing with the water systems, but we were getting like EVPs off of the hose connection out there, and kind of like in that planted area.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
And then we had talked to I think it was the owner, and he's like, oh yeah, the old electrical system in here, it can runs along the water pipes as well, so the water pipes are bringing that EVP or EMF to the water pipes. So it was an interesting thing because we were like, wait a minute, are these plants haunted? Is this water haunted? And then he had eventually came along and was like, no, it's just bad old electrical work. And from time to time, I mean, in old buildings, you will come across that where the electrical system is throwing off so much EMF that even sometimes it will make people hallucinate.
Yeah.
And think that their house is haunted.
True story.
Very true story. So the other EVP we have for you guys, and we'll play it here in just a couple minutes, is Eric sitting by himself like he was talking about. He was sitting in, was it a bedroom?
Yeah.
And he was doing an EVP by himself. We were actually, both Kyle and myself, I believe, were in the living room area. And then he was, like you said, saw the gold orb with his naked eye, didn't catch it on photograph. Did you even try taking a photograph? Do you remember?
I took a couple of photographs when I was in there, but didn't catch anything.
And one thing that I think we've said a couple of times, orbs on pictures are it's like the laughing stock of the paranormal community because there's so many things that can form orbs.
Right.
Such as?
Dust particles, for one. But those are pretty simple to debunk. Bugs. There's another one. Again, supposedly those are easy to debunk, but, the bugs are probably one of the most common because of their wings. They are technically kind of translucent at times, depending on where they are in the frame and in the light of the flash. So that's probably one that's really difficult. Reflection, of course, creates plenty of orbs. And most importantly, this is very important because this is something you should always look out for before going into investigation and taking photos, is dust particles or spots on the lens of the camera, because that's going to give you orbs that don't move. But if you're it's one thing if you're taking video, those are a little easier to debunk. Right. But if you're taking photos, still photos, that's a lot harder to debunk. And a simple smudge on the lens is going to create that orb-like look, and it's going to, There's a lot of stuff online that people are like, oh, look, this is such and such. And it's like, no, that's, it's not. It's really not. And there's so many things just fake. Like, just this week alone, our buddy Jim, he had posted, a video of Bigfoot fighting a bear.
Yeah.
Right? And, of course, now, folks, seriously, there's this thing is called research, okay? Before you go and say, hey, look, this is real, this is, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying any of, you, me, Jim, nobody else did this. But
well, even the guy that did the YouTube video is like, well, real or not, it's just an interesting video.
Yeah, it's still an interesting video. But there are a lot of people who will suddenly post it like, oh, my gosh, this is real, and like show little examples of why it's real.
Right.
All I did, and I put the message up within minutes after seeing the video. I was like, I already know, I don't know why. It might just be, the training and film and whatnot, but I already can tell that it's an actual, like a video that someone's making for a movie. I could tell by the grain in the picture and the way everything was. And that's why I was like, let me do quick research. And so I simply typed in 3 words, Bigfoot versus bear. Boom. There's an entire scene from a movie of the same exact footage plus some. From different camera angles and this and that. Guys, research, folks. The big R. It's important in the paranormal community. Don't claim something is real without the facts. If there's no facts, don't put it up. But and if you do, don't claim it's real. Just like, hey, this is interesting. What do you guys think? I don't believe it's real. I'm not sure. Blah blah blah. But yep.
Well, and I think what I had said too was, Eric and I are very skeptical about Bigfoot footage, but it's still an interesting video nonetheless. Not to mention there aren't very many men who can wrestle a bear. But it is possible. People do it at the circus and that sort of a thing, but it was just interesting to see that. And this guy that was breaking it down was circling things like digits on the feet, facial expression or facial features, and he said something else too, and
genitalia.
Like, oh, that's right.
Which is just a clump of fur. Oh goodness!
It would have been really disturbing if somebody put some genitalia on a Bigfoot costume. That would have been really weird.
They put it on the back of trucks. Why not?
True.
At least it would make sense for the movie.
Right. But yeah, and just as much as Bigfoot can be faked, these orbs, not necessarily that they're fake, but they can be debunked very easily, just as a lot of Bigfoot footage can be. One of my favorite memes or like GIFs on Facebook is it's somebody taking footage of just a random spot in their house, and they're like, we've caught evidence of a spirit in the house, and then this guy just runs across the screen in a white sheet.
I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to take a picture of alcohol. Caught a spirit in the house.
Yeah, it's just some of the stuff, the random stuff that people come up with is just funny and sometimes weird or stupid because you can. And Eric actually has debunked a couple of videos where I think I had shared one. I can't remember what it was about, but he's like, yeah, no, that's it was a UFO. It was a UFO.
Oh.
And
oh yeah, the one that was glowing and went behind the trees.
Yeah.
And like shooting things out or something like that.
Yeah.
Like some kind of missile looking things. Yeah, I remember that.
So it's very easy for people to fake a lot of this stuff now. And as we've said, unfortunately, a lot of the ghost hunting TV shows have been known to fake their evidence because guess what? They're a TV show, they need ratings. And so that's why Eric and I are sharing these now, after so many years, because we had this stuff, but it was very bizarre at the time. Could we have faked it? Sure. I don't think that from some of these EVPs that we really could have, but again, if
I'll tell you what, if we faked it, it'd be doggone good. Okay. The stuff we're showing you isn't that great,
right?
But the next one is pretty good.
Seeing as that we weren't even able to have the pictures that we're talking about, but so this next EVP, folks, is Eric by himself, and we won't say anything just yet about what we think it was going on, but I'll play the clip for you guys, and then we'll go from there.
My name's Eric. I'm here to help you, but I should let you know that I'm not afraid of you. Jeffrey, if you're here, I'm not afraid of you.
So if you guys didn't hear it, it's just after the sigh, if you will, after Eric says, my name is Eric, and then, was it you that sighed? I'm assuming?
It's me that sighs. So it's just, my name is Eric, and as soon as I sigh, within the sigh, you hear a deeper voice say something. And I think it's pretty clear without the description, but I'm going to let you turn that back up a little bit more and, play it through.
All right.
My name's Eric. I'm here to help you, but I should let you know that I'm not afraid of you.
So it's actually in between the inhale and exhale of the sigh, you hear it. Eric breathes in, and then you hear the EVP, and then you hear the exhale. You're also hearing people. I believe it's probably us in the living room and probably some people outside as well. So you can tell that it's not that because it's underneath Eric's voice, and I'll go ahead and let you tell them what you thought it was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, and I think it's simply repeating my name. I say, my name is Eric, and it just says Eric underneath the sigh. It's that simple. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Again, if you guys think it's saying something else, feel free to let us know. But we'll go ahead and play it back a few more times. Can we maybe try to isolate just, that one little spot a little better? Or
I'll see if I can find where it's at here. Let's see.
I'm here to.
Yeah. So, you heard it right there at the very beginning. Very first thing you hear is Eric. And it's kind of a deep voice / whisper type thing. I didn't hear it at the time. No one, you could tell there's a huge difference between that voice and my voice, for one.
Right.
Also, you could tell Justin and whoever else is in the living room is at a much further distance from my recorder than what that voice is coming in. So, obviously, it was none of them. This is what I consider a pretty Class A EVP. It's distinct. You can tell what it's saying. And it's just clear. It's just there. You couldn't miss it. And yet I didn't hear it with the, whatever you call it, naked ear.
Yeah.
So, what exactly it is or who it is, we don't know. That's something that we just can't, say one way or the other. But the fact is, it's an EVP, and it tells us that something or someone was there. Sorry. Oh. Cat's trying to cross the mic, and there's no room for her to do that. Anyway.
So when you had seen the orb, do you remember was it around the time that you were saying this and then got the EVP? Like when you were just saying your name, do you remember seeing it then, or? If
I recall correctly, it's after I say it by about a minute or so, I think.
Okay.
Because I remember I was sitting down. At this time, I was sitting down in the bedroom, leaning against the wall with the window behind me. And when I saw the orb, I was in that exact position. And so at the beginning of this recording, you actually hear me. I'm in the bathroom, and then I walk out, or something like that. And I say, okay, I'm going into the bedroom, and I sit down. And that's when, I don't remember if I got that on EVP. I think I closed out the EVP before I saw the light, but it happened, about a minute or two after I got the recording. So.
Okay. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that had happened. Like we said, folks, I threw away my EVPs. Dummy me. I don't remember getting anything other than the Ghost Box sessions on my recordings, so I don't think I had anything anyways. But that was basically all the footage we really had. Is there anything else that you can remember offhand, like about any experiences at all?
I remember something, and it was so when the garage was converted into a living space, okay?
Right.
And if you walked up the stairs from the garage, you go down this hall, and the hall had a bedroom on the right side, and then you keep going, and then you have the kitchen, the living room, and then a couple more bedrooms. We were in that first bedroom, okay? You're in the center of the hall. We went in that bedroom. I remember being in there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I can't remember fully exactly what happened, but I know there was like a feeling in there for sure, and then possibly also a knock of some sort, which is why we went in to investigate in the first place. And we had a lot of EMF in there as well. But none of that was it. We weren't able to debunk any of that because we couldn't find out where the EMF was coming from. The noise wasn't recorded on the voice recorders or anything. We didn't have any photos or video from it. The IR cameras didn't pick up anything through the entire night. So this is either one very clever haunting where they're able to keep away and yet give little bit, hints of themselves.
Right.
Or we're all just completely crazy and the stuff we caught is just us in some way, in some manner, and we don't remember ever doing it.
As far as the knocking.
Personality disorder. Anything.
Oh.
but as far as the knock, because this room was on the side of the house where we couldn't get to outside. we couldn't get around to the right side because it's very dense in trees and bushes and such. So wherever it came from, it was within the house and within the room, but there was only a small group of us in there at the time. And I remember asking people, hey, did you just do this? Did you do that? And everyone claimed that they didn't. And I would hope that they were truthful to us. These are people, again, this is our first night working with these particular people, this group. So, I don't know if they were completely honest with us, but that was the one other thing that happened that night that was oddly strange. Besides the owner, of course.
Yeah, he was a little bit of an odd one.
Who said that if we could do anything except stay away from his speakers, because his speakers are thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I'm just like, dude, why are you inviting people into your home to do an investigation while you're sleeping if you're so worried about your so-called thousands of dollars worth of speakers? But, it's fine. It's fine. He's going to throw us out if we touch the speakers. You'll be sleeping, dude. You'll never know. But, yeah. So, yeah, that was it. With that said, we are going to jump to our second break. So we will be right back with Paratruth Radio, going to Justin's Paranormal Headlines.
And now, Paratruth Radio's Paranormal Headlines.
How's it going, Parafans? Justin here with your Paranormal Headlines. These headlines are from unexplainedmysteries.com. Ancient lost city turns out to be gas leak. Underwater ruins off the Greek island of Zakynthos have turned out to be a geological phenomenon. When divers came across an extensive series of courtyards and ruined structures in the shallow waters of the Mediterranean, their first thought was that they'd stumbled on a long-lost civilization. Now, though, following an extensive study of the site, researchers have revealed that the ruins aren't actually man-made at all, but are instead the result of a prehistoric gas leak. Thought to have taken place during the Pliocene era, more than 5 million years ago, this extensive release of methane from beneath the sea floor resulted in the formation of structures which, to the eyes of archaeologists, had looked a lot like the ruins of an ancient city. The disc and donut morphology, which looked a bit like circular column bases, is typical of mineralization at hydrocarbon seeps, said lead study author Professor Julian Andrews. This kind of phenomenon is quite rare in the shallow waters. Man finds 2 snakes hanging from ceiling. Mark Hyatt got the shock of his life when he encountered the nightmarish spectacle inside his own home. If there's one thing worse than finding a snake in your house, it's arriving back home to find 2 large snakes wrapped around one another while dangling from your ceiling. This was the shocking scenario that greeted horrified homeowner Matt Hyatt of Greenwood, South Carolina, earlier this week when he opened his front door after returning from work. Yes, this is what I came home to today, he wrote on Facebook. He was eventually able to remove one of the snakes from the house, but later admitted that the second had managed to escape and he had no idea where it had gone. Anyone want to come for a sleep over at my place tonight, he joked. The footage he captured on the snake, which can be viewed on YouTube, has since gone viral online. And this has been Justin with your Paranormal Headlines.
This was a segment of Paratruth Radio's Paranormal Headlines.
Welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
And we have been discussing the investigation we did at Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood home. it's the place where he had committed his first murder, in which he had killed Stephen Hicks. He killed him with a dumbbell, cut him up in little pieces, separated the flesh from the bones, buried it amongst the yard in trash bags, and eventually it was all found by a detective who dug it up and said, "Here is our lead." So, interesting night.
Yeah.
We spent the entire night. It was a long night. It all began when we got there. Set up some equipment, talked to the owner, and then we went all of us went out to dinner. That was fun.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part. That we left and we came back.
Yeah. But it was a good time. It was a real good time. We had a lot of fun. Met some interesting people. Caught some interesting stuff on EVP. Had some very interesting experiences. Justin, unfortunately, always has the same repeated experience over and over. Poor kid.
Well, at least it wasn't causing me pain this time, and I wasn't inviting it to cause me pain.
Do it again. Squeeze my heart.
Justin, dude.
Chill. Chill. It's okay to chill.
Well, I just want to prove it's here. I know, but just chill.
Chill. But that was the investigation of the night, guys. That was our highlight. I hope you enjoyed, everything that we talked about. If you have any questions regarding Jeffrey Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer case, let us know. Whether it be, the investigation of our own or the investigation of the police department, trying to figure out exactly what happened and why Dahmer did what he did. We might be able to hook you up with some information. You'd be surprised. So hit us up if you have any questions, if you have any answers in regards to the EVPs or anything you'd like to share of your own findings in regards to anything whatsoever, preferably paranormal, but feel free to hit us up at puretruthradio@gmail.com. Also, facebook.com/puretruthradio. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram.
And
of course,
Plus.
And Google Plus. You can hit us. You can even hit us up on Spreaker. Leave a comment underneath this episode. I think you can leave a comment on the website, right?
I believe that's still up.
It should still be up at Puretruth Radio.
Yeah, because I took the chat room down, so I think I kept the comment.
Okay, so ParatruthRadio.com. You could hit us up there. There's a number of ways to find us. All you have to do is type in Paratruth Radio or PTRN or you name it. You'll find us.
If you type in Eric or Justin, you have to know our last names, but we won't be giving those to you.
Nah, you're trying to trick us. You paranormal freaks.
I do encourage you guys to follow us on Spreaker, subscribe on YouTube, and you guys get automatic updates whenever a new show is up and active. Mm-hmm. And like Eric said, join us on Facebook. You can follow us and join the PTRN group as well, where Jerry posts her shows and a couple either post their shows or just have conversations there. Very neat stuff going on at PTRN. And you can go to ptrnetwork.com or paratruthradio.com, as Eric said as well. Mm-hmm. So, that's all we got for the Dahmer house. Oh, yuck. I don't know how you go from doing that part to actually eating people, but
it's like chicken. You chop its head off and then you're like, oh, this looks edible. Pop.
Only difference is we don't run around after our heads cut off. Not that I would know. I've never cut anybody's head off, but other than with a camera. But so next week, nothing definitive yet. I think we'll try and figure something out, but nothing definite yet.
Sure, hope so.
Yeah. And then actually the week after that is our 2-year anniversary episode.
Woo!
It's actually, hopefully neither of us get the 2-year itch like we got last time, like myself actually. But and then Night Stalkers was murdered by Forgotten Truth Radio.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So until next week, guys, we've got a lot of stuff coming up for you. But next week,
do you want to mention real quick?
Okay. Yep.
And this is a little later in the month, but actually it's the beginning of July. So just about 4.5 weeks from now, you're going to have yourself a treat because we will be doing a very live episode together, Justin and I. So that's something you want to check out, especially if you're on YouTube. You're gonna, if you're watching on YouTube, that's an episode you want to watch on YouTube. Whether you watch it or not already, watch that episode because things don't go well. Well, they do go well, just in a very different way when we're together. So,
so definitely stay tuned for that as well. I believe that will be June or July 3rd.
It is July 3rd.
Yeah,
I've already got it up.
So, whether we're on the road or depending on what happens, if for some reason we do it early or whatever, we'll let you guys know in advance. But
for the record, if we do a show live while traveling on the road, I promise everybody I will interview a bison. Okay? So it's dangerous possibly, but I will do it. I will go up to a bison and ask it a couple questions and see what they have to say. There's only so many things that can go wrong. The chances of any of them happening to me are very slim. But maybe, just maybe.
Get a horn right in the... we'll leave that.
I'll show you some para-truth. Turn my horn into a parasite.
All right, folks. Well, until next week, where you will find us, same time, same channel. My name is Justin.
And I'm Eric. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Paratruth Radio, and you would like to listen to it again, or are interested in listening to any of our past episodes, then you can listen to them on HD at our website, paratruthradio.com.
And you can also find us at Stitcher, Blueberry, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube.
And of course, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for brand new updates of our show every day.